History repeats itself in the world of One Piece. We have inherited will being a massive theme in the story, and in my own little headcanon, I feel inherited will can be interpreted as a character passing on their dreams and ambitions to another character as they were unable to reach their goals, and as a result of that, they had to pass it on to another character. Or it can be interpreted as history being repeated by another character, Joy Boy all those years ago, and now Luffy being the modern day Joy Boy. You can look at it like that for context. As massive as the story of One Piece is, there is a very simple formula to the story. Before the time skip, the formula was the Straw Hats will visit an island, make friends with an important member of that island. Most likely that character will be part of a royal family, like how Vivi and Shirahoshi were as an example. The Straw Hats will team up with that character and will fight off the villain who is most likely trying to take over the island of that said important character. That's when the Straw Hats first arrive in that island. The Straw Hats by the end of the arc will liberate that island and will end up having a massive banquet as celebration for the defeat of the main villain of that specific arc. This has been going on for a majority of the story, and you can even say Wano had that same formula as well, with Momonosuke and Hiyori being Oden's kids and being part of a royal family in Wano. So as big as the story is, with all these different islands and secrets being made, with fans like us trying to theorize and decipher what all the foreshadowing and secrets mean, there is a simple formula to the story, and it's not as complicated as people seem to make it out. And it's not a criticism, by the way, it's just me saying it how it is. Chapter 1156 was titled Idols, and there are three clear standouts when it comes to this. For me, these three characters were Roger, the future king of the pirates, Rox, who was the captain of the strongest crew in the seas at that time, and Garp, who became the future hero of the Marine. Three distinct titles. I know we had young Gloriosa and young Shaki being introduced, and you can definitely make the claim that they are the three idols that the chapter was talking about, since everyone was falling for them in this chapter. However, these three characters were essentially the top dogs of this era, and no one was coming close to them. Well, eventually Whitebeard broke out and became Roger's greatest rival and eventual friend, but that's besides the point. Rox pulled up on Emu and declared that he will return. We have never seen a character do that before to Emu of all people. He is the first character that we know that has actually killed an admiral. So all those power scalers out there trying to declare this character is admiral level or this character is Yonko level, I think we can all agree that Rox is definitely above admiral level. Rox was arguably on Pirate King level, a character above everyone else that it's almost unthinkable that a single character can beat him in a 1v1 combat. Shanks right now in the current timeline has that aura of Pirate King level, and Rox definitely had it back then. But going to the point, Roger, Rox and Garp were the big three in that era, and the big climactic battle of that era was in the battle in Godvalley. We don't know much what happened in the Godvalley incident yet, as Oda is still releasing new information in the latest chapters. All we know is that Baby Shanks was there, and if I'm not mistaken, Garp, Roger and the Rox Pirates were all there, and the Rox Pirates all got dissembled after that incident. We also found out that Rox himself got defeated in the Godvalley incident. Did Roger and Garp team up to fight Rox? Was it a 2 versus 1? Did Rox's crew turn on him? We don't know the details of that incident yet. And man, when that flashback eventually shows, Toei might even make it into an OVA due to the hype and anticipation of such a flashback between arguably the most important characters in One Piece history. The Godvalley incident shaped the One Piece world for the next few years. Roger ascended to being Pirate King and discovering the One Piece after, and Garp became the strongest Marine in history, being known as the hero of the Marines. It was in fact in chapter 957 where it was revealed it was because of the Godvalley incident and the defeat of Rox. That is the reason why Garp is known as the hero of the Marines. And because Rox was out of the picture, that paved the way for Roger to become the strongest pirate. If we had the One Piece series with Roger being the main protagonist instead of Luffy, I think the last battle of the story would have been the Godvalley battle. I'm not just hyping the Godvalley incident up, just look at the ramifications I just listed out due to the battle of the Godvalley. A similar battle will happen here again in the current timeline in One Piece. As I mentioned already, history repeats itself, so the three modern day big three are of course Luffy being the Roger of the modern era, Blackbeard being the Rox of the modern era. I personally don't think he's anything like Rox, but he is inheriting Rox's will, and with the whole of him having Hashinosu Island, his pirate ship being named after Zebek, All the little symbols are there for him to be labeled as the rocks of this era, even though I don't think he's anything like rocks at all. And I'll make a video on that very soon. And of course, him being the son of rocks helps that case of him being the new rocks also. So then, who's the Garp of this era? Everyone is saying Kobe is the modern day Garp, and yes, there are similarities, but I don't think so. Garp was the strongest Marine. Him being a threat to Roger and Rocks was one of the reasons he was one of the idols. You have to be a powerhouse to shape an era, and right now, Kobe is not there yet to shape a generational defining moment. However, the character I do feel that will pose a threat to both Blackbeard and Luffy is Akainu. Akainu has so much history with Luffy that their fight will be the biggest grudge match in the story. I personally think Luffy vs Akainu will be a bigger fight than Luffy vs Blackbeard. As much as Blackbeard set up Ace to get captured by the Marines, it was Akainu who dealt the fatal blow to Ace, right in front of Luffy. So those two have a score to settle, but also Akainu is a massive threat to both Blackbeard and Luffy. Luffy back in Fishman Island, when he heard Akainu's name, he was feeling his chest, remembering the pain and the scar he gave Luffy. And Blackbeard back in chapter 595 ran away the minute he noticed Akainu was coming. He left Jewelry Bonnie, his own prisoner, because he didn't want that smoke against Akainu. Now that's an example of why Blackbeard is not like Rocks. I mean, come on guys, would Rocks run away from Akainu? If he was in that situation, I don't think so. But also, given that Aokiji is also in Blackbeard's crew, he may still have some beef with Akainu considering he's missing a leg due to the fight with Akainu. So there's emotional stakes there if Akainu is involved. But the guy is a monster, and we still haven't seen his awakened form yet. This modern day version of the Godvalley incident will take place in Laugh Tale, and the ramifications of it will determine who rules the seas. Because as we saw from the last incident, it opened the door for the future Pirate King, it made a legend in the Marine, and it ended the greatest pirate crew of all time. Something similar will happen again, and I believe Shanks will play a part in this battle. He was there in the last battle, and I believe he will be here again in the modern Godvalley incident. The boy he trusted, his Straw Hat, will be there, and of course, Blackbeard, the guy that gave those scars to Shanks, will also be there. Shanks also said that when Luffy becomes a great pirate, that's when Shanks and Luffy will meet again. So it makes sense that in the modern Godvalley incident that Shanks will be there, because now Luffy is a great pirate. He has history with Blackbeard, and he also declared in chapter 1054 to Ben Beckman to go and claim the One Piece. This battle here, the modern day Godvalley incident, will be the story's big climactic battle. I have no doubt about that. This will be the battle that engulfs the world. But anyway, let me go over to you guys now. What do you guys think? Do you think there will be a modern day version of the Godvalley incident in the story? Let me know in the comments down below.